What's up guys, it's the Cubeologist here again, and today I'm going to show you how I set up my YJ Guanlong. Alright, so I'm going to be covering the YJ Guanlong today. This is a fairly new puzzle by YJ, it's their newest 3x3, and it is really inexpensive. It's like $3 or $4 before shipping. So I thought since a lot of people are going to have it, I would show you guys how I set this cube up, because I've already done it to one puzzle and it's pretty awesome. So first off, let's get the puzzle out. So once you get this puzzle out of the box, the first thing you should do is to just play with it, sit around and solve it, do whatever you have to do to get the scratchy feeling of the plastic off. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Moyu or YJ cubes, but they have a really sandpapery feel when you open them, and you just want to play with the puzzle until that's completely gone. You don't have to do 1,000 solves on it or anything, just, 30 or 50, something like that, until you can feel that that sandpapery feel is gone, and then we can get to this. Now, what I'm actually going to be using today, and a few of these things are optional, is obviously we've got a screwdriver, we've got stickers. I took some washers from an old mini Fengshi. Now, you might be able to find other washers that fit, but these are the only ones I found that actually fit in this cube, because it's kind of small. I think it's like 56 millimeters. Diane washers won't work. I tried that, but from a mini Fengshi, these work. I've got Weight 5 lube from the Cubicle, but any heavy lube will work. Traxxas 50K or 30K, some heavy Calvin's lube, anything like that. And I use Maru lube on top of that. But the washers, the Maru lube, and the stickers are all optional. You definitely don't have to do that. But I would definitely recommend these two things if you want to make your cube pretty good. So let's get into it. The first thing you want to do is disassemble the puzzle. You want to start by taking an edge out, and then most of the rest will just fall apart. So once you've got the cube apart, put all this to the side, and let's take a look at the core here. So first off, you want to take the center caps off, and then completely take your core apart. Now that you've got your core apart, you want to take out all the hardware from the puzzle. Alright, so now that we've got the hardware out, let's take a look here. As you can see, the screw is pretty thin. Just that's a side effect of this being a really inexpensive cube. And the spring is actually not that large, but it's got some resistance to it. So just leave that on the screw. And I know you guys can't see down in there, but there are no washers on this puzzle. So that is not really a problem as far as feel goes. It can lead to some catching with your spring, but the biggest issue with not having a washer is the lifetime of the puzzle. So when you've got the spring in there twisting around on that plastic over and over, it's definitely going to grind into it. And if you want to use this puzzle for a long time, I would definitely recommend getting the washers. So that's what we're going to do first. Go ahead and get the washers if you've got them. Like I said, this part's optional, but it definitely helps with the lifetime of the puzzle. Get your washers out and get your lube. Then you want to get just a little bit of lube here, about like that, and then work it down in the bottom where the washer will be. Then take your washer like normal, put the smooth side facing up, so the smooth side is facing that way, and place it right down in there, and it should stick to the lube that you put in there. And then put just a little bit of lube on top of the washer so the spring doesn't make any noise. You can see it down in there. Then take your screw, put a little bit of lube right on top here so the spring noise goes away, and then put all this back into the centerpiece. So you've got lube, washer, lube, screw, spring, and then lube on the top of the screw head. And then do that for the other 5 centerpieces. Okay, now that you've done that to all the centerpieces, you want to go ahead and reattach them to the core. Now the way I do this is that I just make sure it's straight, and then I push and start screwing the core onto the actual screw. Okay, so I ran into an issue where the screws didn't all have consistent threads. So just make sure after you've screwed them all in that your tensions are even at this point. They don't have to be correct. Just make sure that they pull out the same, and you can see the same gap on all of them right there, because we're going to adjust them here in a minute anyway. So once you've done that, set this aside, and now we're going to take a look at the pieces. So taking a look at an edge and a corner piece here, you can see that on the corner of this piece right here, you've got some flash, and that actually rubs against the edge pieces. So you want to take all that off, and just for good measure, make sure and take all this flash off as well, just because it looks really bad. It's probably just a byproduct of the inexpensive nature of the puzzle, but we want to take care of that. So grab a file or a knife, whatever you have laying around, and just take that off of there, just like that. And you can see, you can start to smooth it down, and it helps the puzzle out a lot, especially on that corner piece. So you want to take that off on both sides, and you also want to smooth down these corners where you have the flash sticking up, because that'll make the cube feel a little bit bumpy, and you don't want that because this is a really smooth cube. And that's perfect. So pause the video here and do that to all your pieces, and I'll be right back with you. So these little imperfections on the torpedo here, you actually can just peel them down and off like this. See that? So you want to go ahead and get rid of those. Just peel all of them off there. Take the plastic away like that. So you can see this. You don't want that coming off in your puzzle whenever you're solving or something, because that'll make it feel really bad. So go ahead and just peel all those off, and once you're done, just sand it down to where it's flush, and then you're good to go. Now once you're done doing that, you want to go ahead and wipe all the dust off of these that you scraped off, and then we can start reassembling the puzzle. This is just a fraction of the plastic that chipped off of that while I was sanding down those flash pieces. So that would actually be inside your lube, inside your puzzle. You definitely want to make sure you get all of that out of there. Alright, now you want to start reassembling the puzzle. So there's a lot of tutorials online about how to assemble 3x3s, but basically you just want to put an edge piece in with a corner on both sides of it, like that. And then you can start putting in the other edge and another corner, and then just work your way around the bottom until you get the whole bottom, and then the cube is basically put together. And then put in 3 edge pieces like this. And then here I actually put a little bit of lube. As you can see, I've got the cube assembled to this point, but I just put some lube on the tracks right here, right there, and also just right on the centerpiece. Then once you've got the lube in there, you want to go ahead, before you put this edge in, and start putting in pieces in the top. Now order doesn't matter here if you're going to be restickering the puzzle like I am, but if you're going to actually leave these stickers on here, you want to make sure you put it together assembled. So at this point, go ahead and put an edge in this empty slot. Then you can put a corner in, another corner, and here I like to turn the puzzle around and put lube on top of this edge piece. So we've got it on the bottom of this back one, put it on top of this one, right there, and a little bit in the track, and then pop your last edge in. Alright, so the cube doesn't feel that good right now. Obviously it feels a little bit slow, but it does feel a little bit smoother, and I can tell that it's too loose for me, so I'm going to have to tighten it up, but that actually feels pretty good. So the way I tighten and loosen my cubes is, if I can tell if it's really loose, I go ahead and do a half turn on each screw. So just pay attention at a point on your screwdriver. So this is up. You want to make sure it's down when you're done. and then do that around the puzzle, a whole turn or a half turn. And then try it out. That actually feels a lot better. And it seems to be pretty even. So I'm going to go ahead and put the center caps back on, and that already feels really good. So now I'm going to go and re-sticker this, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so now you can see we've got the cube all stickered. I've solved it a few times to get the loop spread around, and I'm really happy with this puzzle. It's super fast. It's super controllable too. So like, you know, you don't really overshoot that much. You can obviously, but it's really controllable and it turns really well. Now at this point, after the heavy lube that I put on the pieces is broken in, this is where I add Marlube. This is totally, you know, up to you guys. It's if you like the feel of Marlube. It just really speeds up the puzzle, and I like really fast puzzles. So if you guys have enjoyed this, or if you set your puzzle up like this, definitely let me know, because I think this really works, and I'm really happy with this cube. I don't know anybody that wouldn't be satisfied with this. But let me know down in the comments what you think of this method of setting up this puzzle, and I'm glad you guys watched, and I hope to see you soon. Bye guys.